The story opens with Terry Richmond, an African-American Marine Corps veteran, biking into the town of Shelby Springs, Louisiana, listening to music. Suddenly, two officers, Evan Marston and Steve Lann, hit him with their car and arrest him, claiming he tried to escape when they signaled for him to pull over. Terry explains he didn't hear them because of his earphones, but the officers are skeptical and begin questioning him, delving into his background. As Evan checks Terry's backpack, he finds a package and asks to open it. When Terry declines, they detain him and call for a K-9 unit. After learning it'll be an hour before the dogs arrive, Terry, in a hurry, reluctantly allows them to inspect the bag. Inside, they find $36,000, which they assume is drug money. Terry clarifies that it's for his cousin's bail, not anything illegal. He explains that $10,000 is for bail, and the rest is to buy a truck to start a boat hauling business with his cousin, Mike Simmons, who is in jail for possessing weed, not selling it. Despite his explanation, the officers let Terry go but keep the cash, still convinced it's drug-related. Terry tries to explain that he got the money by selling his car and his share in a Chinese restaurant. Evan, however, tells him they're keeping the cash, and he can only get it back after 30 days if he submits the correct paperwork. Otherwise, he might face jail time for money laundering. With no other option, Terry agrees, and they finally let him go. He heads straight to the courthouse, where he meets Elliott, the court clerk, and asks him to post bail for his cousin Mike. Unfortunately, without his money, Elliott can't help, pointing out that Terry doesn't have the cash required. To make matters worse, Elliott reveals that the jail is being renovated, and all inmates, including Mike, are being transferred to state prison. Elliott leaves, leaving Terry anxious about his cousin's safety. Before he goes, Elliott suggests Terry speak to Summer McBride, a junior court clerk aiming to become a lawyer who might be able to help. Over coffee, Summer tells Terry about the shady practices of the local police, explaining how they use legal loopholes to seize people's money, and if citizens don't follow the right procedures, the police keep it. Terry adds that Mike once helped put dangerous criminals behind bars, which puts him at serious risk if he's sent to state prison. With Mike's transfer scheduled for Thursday, Summer urges Terry to quickly gather more cash for bail to protect him. They go their separate ways, and Terry contacts Mr. Liu, his former business partner and owner of a Chinese restaurant, asking for $10,000. Liu agrees to send the money within a few hours. That night, Terry researches the police department that arrested him and decides to confront them the next day. At the station, he reports a robbery to Officer Jessica Sims, describing the suspects to closely resemble Evan and Steve. Just as he's filing the report, Steve arrives and shuts it down, assuming Terry is fabricating the story. At that moment, Police Chief Sandy Burnne steps in, backs up his officers, and orders Terry to leave. Terry tries to negotiate, offering to let them keep most of his cash if they return enough for Mike's bail. Burnne, tempted by the deal, agrees. Before leaving, Terry asks to see Mike before his transfer, and Sandy tells him to come back the next morning at 9 a.m. However, when Terry arrives at the station the following morning, he discovers that the bus transporting Mike has already left just 3 minutes earlier. Determined, Terry jumps on his bike, catches up to the bus, and tells Mike to request protective custody upon arrival at the prison. Seeking more help, Terry meets with Summer behind the courthouse, where she reveals she's uncovered incriminating information on the cops, enough to have them arrested. She also warns that the judge is involved, making the situation even more complex. Knowing he's running out of time, Terry rushes to get the bail money to Elliott. He returns to the station, proposing his deal once more, but Sandy rejects it, even acknowledging it's reasonable. Frustrated, Terry, trained in close quarters combat, takes down both Sandy and Steve effortlessly, cuffing them with Jessica's handcuffs. He forces Jessica to lead him to the property room, where he finds a stash of weapons and cash. Staying true to his word, he only takes the $10,000 needed for Mike's bail, leaving the rest behind. He empties Jessica's gun and instructs her to act like she's arresting him and calmly drive him away so the armed ranchers outside won't shoot him. Jessica complies, driving Terry away in Steve's car before discreetly issuing a police alert. Terry hurries to the courthouse, getting the cash to Elliott just in time. Summer works quickly to secure the judge's signature on the bail papers, but before they finalize everything, the police storm the courthouse and arrest Terry, stopping them just as they were about to save Mike. The cops take Terry to the courthouse basement for a medical checkup, and afterward, Evan escorts him to meet with Burnne. Burnne admits they overstepped by digging into Terry's past. They stop at a hospital, where Burnne hands Terry the rest of his cash, instructing him to stay silent and pretend none of it happened, warning that if he doesn't, they could imprison him for 30 years for assault. Burnne also reveals that Mike was attacked in prison and is now being treated at this hospital. Frustrated but with little choice, Terry accepts the deal. Burnne warns him never to return or face severe consequences. Terry goes to the hospital to see Mike, but tragically, Mike doesn't survive. Needing a ride home, Terry contacts Summer. While driving, a police car follows them, and Summer admits it's her secret police informant, whom she calls Serpico, watching over her. Agitated, Terry brushes off her explanation. She tries to tell him that Mike's case is just one of many similar injustices, and insists the police must be held accountable, but Terry isn't interested. Before parting, he gives her his emergency phone number and says goodnight. Later that night, Summer wakes up to find someone has broken into her home and drugged her. Spotting a car magnet on her fridge, she realizes the police are involved. She calls Terry, who rushes over and breaks in, finding her alive in the shower. Summer explains she's okay because the officers used a substance she's been exposed to before. She also reveals that she had a daughter but lost custody due to past drug use. Though she currently has temporary visitation rights, she fears tomorrow's drug test could lead to a permanent loss. Terry reassures her and sends her off to work. However, things take a turn when the judge summons her, orders a drug test, and subtly hints he's working with the police. Frightened but without a choice, Summer submits the sample, breaking down as she fears what's to come. Meanwhile, Terry encounters Steve and his crew, who have blocked the road to trap him. Terry cooperates, but Steve shoots him as punishment for returning to town. Wounded but not defeated, Terry fights back, tasers Steve, and escapes by driving into nearby fields. He eventually abandons his truck under a bridge and heads to Mr. Lou's restaurant, where he calls Summer, asking her to bring burner phones. When she arrives, she finds Terry injured, and Mr. Lou is already tending to his wounds. Determined to expose the corrupt officers, Terry and Summer team up, going undercover to gather evidence. They sneak into the judge's home, confronting him about his involvement with the corrupt cops. The judge confesses that he's been collaborating with Burnne for some time. With Burnne's department low on funds, he began padding his own pockets by illegally searching people and manipulating court cases. Victims tried to retrieve their money, but they always lost, while part of the funds were funneled into government programs, allowing the state to turn a blind eye. The cops would pull people over and rough them up, as they did with Terry at the start of the story, and the dashcam footage from these encounters could be crucial for taking them down. That night, Terry and Summer planned to steal the dashcam footage from the courthouse basement. However, when they break in, they discover the cops have already taken action. The officers have set the evidence room on fire to destroy everything. Thinking quickly, Summer douses the flames with coconut water, then grabs the memory cards and restarts the fire to avoid arousing suspicion. Outside, Terry waits for Summer, who's retrieving her urine sample, but things take a dark turn when the cops catch and drag her away. Realizing she's been kidnapped, Terry tracks them to a hidden location where the group splits up, leaving him to decide his next move. He rams his vehicle into a cop car, subdues one officer who stayed behind, handcuffs him, and demands answers. Using the officer's radio, he contacts Burnne and negotiates, offering the memory cards in exchange for Summer. Burnne agrees, setting the meet up at Rebel Ridge before dawn. At sunrise, Burnne's men are positioned at Rebel Ridge, but Terry is nowhere in sight. Then, Burnne receives a call from Terry, while Evan thinks he's spotted Terry's car nearby. However, Terry reveals he's out of reach now. When Evan checks the car, he finds Officer McGill taped to the seat instead. Meanwhile, Terry is back at the police station, breaking through the back wall of Burnne's office. Jessica alerts the other cops, causing them to rush back. At the station, a frantic Burnne scrambles for the money while Terry arms himself in the station's armory. Instead of lethal force, Terry uses beanbag rounds to take down Burnne. Soon after, Jessica arrives, and Terry assumes she's the informant, Serpico, Summer had mentioned, so he trusts her with the memory cards, asking her to expose the truth. Gathering Burnne's cash stash, Terry plans to burn it, but Jessica stops him, making it clear she's not interested in violence and isn't Serpico. Realizing his mistake, Terry lets her lead him outside, but the situation remains tense. Officer Steve confronts Terry, crushing the memory cards and smugly revealing they had knocked out Summer to create a scenario to eliminate Terry without witnesses. As tensions mount, Evan's protests reveal to Terry that Evan is the true Serpico. In the ensuing standoff, everyone has their weapons drawn, but Burnne shoots Evan in the leg and takes his gun. When Jessica lowers her weapon, Terry seizes the moment to escape with Evan. They duck behind a car, throwing smoke grenades for cover. Evan urges Terry to activate the dash cams in the car to capture everything, which will record within 3 minutes. Terry methodically disables the cops without lethal force until he reaches Steve. Seeking revenge for being shot, he jumps into Steve's car, where an unconscious Summer is inside, and activates the dash cams. As Terry drives toward Evan to pick him up, Steve clings to the vehicle, trying to climb in. Summer, regaining consciousness, pushes Steve away, giving them a chance to escape. Burnne and his team chase them, with Jessica among them. When ordered to perform a tactical maneuver, Jessica surprises everyone by disabling Burnne's vehicle and arresting him instead. The remaining officers then escort Evan and Summer to the hospital, while Terry secures the crucial dashcam footage and sits quietly in the hallway, preparing for what lies ahead. If you enjoyed this video, don't be shy to hit the like button, and if you disliked it, hit the dislike button twice, just to be sure. It would be best if you watched the whole movie. Thank you very much for watching. Please subscribe for more videos like this.